Bill Maher called out CNN's Kaitlan Collins on the network's bias. Let's watch.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter.
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And
I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. It does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. But she's kind of saying I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump.
We recently showed you Bill Maher berating Kaitlan Collins for pursuing Caroline Leavitt, and to be honest, we thought that would be enough to get Kaitlan to back off, but she doubled down. The CNN anchor is still pursuing Leavitt, Trump, and Elon Musk with even more ferocious attacks, and Bill is not going to let that get away with it this time. Fortunately for you, we have all the receipts, so let's go.
Would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. It'll be absolutely
over. Do you
over.
want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement
let me
that
just
you just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
We'll discuss the Bill Maher takedown shortly, but first let's discuss why Ma, a Biden supporter, seems to be siding with Republicans. You see, woke journalists have been laying traps for Trump long before he even won the November election, with Kaitlan Collins spearheading the effort. Kaitlan believed she had him cornered, but Trump isn't new to this game. He dodged the setup flawlessly, insisting he didn't want any more lives lost, whether Ukrainian or Russian. If there's one thing the woke mob hates, it's losing control of the narrative, and trust me, they weren't going to let this one slip. In that clip we just watched, the CNN anchor was looking for a gotcha moment, something that could make Trump look unfit for office. The question is a trap. If Trump said he wanted Ukraine to win, he would be accused of escalating World War III. He would be smeared as a traitor.
You held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple you're a nasty...
It appears that Trump was not amenable to Kaitlan Collins. He called her out for her antics right then and there, and to be honest, he had every reason to do so instead of just asking a direct question. It was clear what she was doing. Her entire strategy was to trap Trump with convoluted, no-win questions that were meant to trip him up, make him stumble, or, better yet, catch him in a soundbite that the media could use for days. However, Trump saw it coming a mile away, and like a seasoned fighter, he bobbed, weaved, and escaped like a fly, then turned around and delivered a devastating counterpunch. One moment Kaitlan thought she had him cornered, and the next he won left scrambling brutal, but as usual, Trump flipped the script in her face, so she kept coming.
Just created by Donald Trump.
Okay, but can I say, you can't blame, and everyone wants your dad to be safe. No one wants the threats against his life to happen, but you can't blame the media for those threats. There's been no evidence that's what drove those.
And allows people to have a platform to call someone literally Hitler every day for 9 years, it creates it. Okay. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's a fact.
But as you know, J.D. Vance once likened your dad to Hitler.
This furious exchange occurred immediately following Donald Trump's assassination attempt. Trump Jr. didn't hold back when he accused the media of inciting the attack by continuously comparing his father to Hitler. He is correct. For almost 10 years, the media has portrayed Trump as America's Hitler, a despot determined to destroy the nation. Did you notice that Kaitlan Collins smugly claimed that J.D. Vance once referred to Trump as Hitler? Vance didn't have the media's power, influence, or massive reach, so his words never carried the same weight, and he might have initially fallen for the anti-Trump narrative until he actually got to know Trump and realized he wasn't at all.
Appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
Maher had had enough of the media's hypocrisy. Kaitlan Collins and her colleagues have spent years crafting a one-sided narrative that portrays Biden as a saint and Trump as the ultimate sinner. They're not just reporting the news. They're manufacturing it. Their obsession with keeping Democrats in power has resulted in relentless negative coverage of Trump, twisting every word, spinning every headline, and feeding the outrage machine 247. However, when their guy, Kaitlan, and her crew bury the story as if Don Jr. had even a tenth of Hunter's baggage.
Was what you would have to call some sort of media suppression of Hunter Biden's computer right before the election.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Okay,
and the truth is, I still don't know what I think about that. And sometimes,
right.
But I mean, to actually parse everything in there and figure out just how dirty Biden Sr. is as a result of the information there.
Can I go to step two? But nothing really. It was common. It was the kind of sort of everyday graft that's sleazy, but doesn't affect the world. Probably.
Yes.
Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money. But Joe Biden himself would not give away our nuclear secrets to the Chinese. He's not, he has a soft spot for his son, his ne'er-do-well, stupid son.
I mean, you've heard his voicemails to his Hunter.
So, like, Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Could you just meet with the Chinese guy next week? It would mean a lot to me. And Joe would do it. And then Hunter would get the money for the...
Yep, that's how bad things got when the Hunter Biden scandal exploded. And honestly, we're probably lucky Hunter didn't sweet-talk his dad into handing over nuclear codes in exchange for a quick payday given his track record. Would anyone really be shocked the man has sold access influence and who knows what else? But sure, let's all pretend Trump is the real villain here. The media bends over backwards to protect the Bidens acting like Hunter is just a misunderstood guy with personal struggles, but... Let's face it, if Trump Jr. had half of Hunter's scandals, the media would call for his public execution. The hypocrisy is insane. They'll manufacture a scandal out of Trump breathing. Yet when hard evidence of corruption, shady deals, and influence peddling drops on Hunter, crickets. And that's exactly why people like Bill Maher, who used to lean left, are finally calling out the nonsense. At some point, even lifelong Democrats have to admit this isn't journalism, it's propaganda. And Kaitlan, given all of these events, it wasn't shocking when Kaitlan eventually joined Bill Maher for an interview because Collins was at the front. We all knew there would be fireworks, but nobody anticipated this degree of devastation.
Hey, press, because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight, and the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all the fucks, but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz.
CNN's version of impartiality is a joke. They will bring on a Republican, usually someone who already despises Trump, let them speak for maybe 30 seconds, and then spend the next 10 minutes tearing them apart. That's not balance. That's controlled opposition. Bill Maher didn't hold back when he attacked Kaitlan Collins and CNN for their phony attempts at impartiality, exposing how the network occasionally permits a token conservative voice just to pretend they're fair. CNN manages damage control and downplays scandals into minor annoyances, much like an extended public relations team. Maher can see through the game that networks like CNN are no longer in the journalism business. Instead, they are in the narrative control business. They control public opinion, choose which stories are important, and conveniently ignore anything that could harm their political allies. When someone dares to criticize them, They try to silence the criticism by spreading false information, which is why Bill snapped.
Alabama. I'm from a very red state. I have a very conservative family, a lot of them who are Trump voters. They watch my show every night, and I think they know that they can trust me, that, you know, we call bullshit on every side, not just whatever leaning our audience may be. And I think that's something that people actually want more.
The mere fact that you're from a red-having Republican family members and a state does not magically remove CNN's obvious bias from news flashes. Your personal history does not equate to objectivity as a journalist. And amount of "my family is Republican" can stop CNN from promoting its typical left-wing storylines. You never know your family. CNN isn't fooling anyone. They downplay Democratic scandals, push every anti-Trump narrative they can find, and then pat themselves on the back for being fair because they let a Republican talk once in a blue moon and Bill Maher sees it, which is why he called you out. However, Ma isn't the only one calling her out. Check out what Megyn Kelly had to say. Maybe they're just demonstrating familial support, just like parents sit through their kids' off-key school recitals as a sign of credibility.
I'm sorry, but she's only a star with leftists, and the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is. It's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer and also have some more.
Kaitlan, Megyn was spot on. Collins can avoid being labeled as biased no matter how hard she tries because she is as left-leaning as CNN's editorial board at a Biden fundraiser. However, Megyn got it right when she gave Kaitlan a piece of advice because, in all honesty, Kaitlan needs to smile more and stop wearing that constant smirk. There's a thin line between being harsh and being cold-hearted, and at the moment, Kaitlan is acting like a human ice cube. Megyn Kelly understands, Bill Maher understands, and the audience